r/AskReddit. What was your I don't get paid enough for this moment at work? Worked at a fast food place about 13 years ago. This lady in the drive-thru claimed she was missing a sandwich. Our policy was to ask for the bags back to verify. I asked to see the bags, 3 or 4, decent sized order, and instead of handing them back like a civilized human being, she instantly started raging and throwing the food into the window while cussing me out. Guess what one of the items that she threw at me was? Yeah, said missing sandwich. I walked into the bathroom, and someone had smeared poop on literally every single surface, wall, everything except one small part of the ceiling they couldn't reach. Picasso almost made me quit, but luckily my boss told me to lock it, not let anyone else use it, and he got someone to come with a pressure washer. My boss insisted that everybody be at their desks at 8:30 sharp. She made me take roll on an attendance sheet and hand it into her every day. She also made me do it at lunchtime, when everybody left and came back, and when they left at night. Took roll for a bunch of adults 3 times a day. I don't work there anymore. Oh man. I'm actually relieved, because I had to do this same shit to my subordinates, and honestly I made up numbers 99% of the time because they worked their full hours and could prove it, and their performance was the best in the office because they weren't being crushed by an asshole dictator. I left after I was told to follow my subordinates to the bathroom to time their breaks in there, and one of my team was a pregnant woman. When I objected, I was told by the highest management that I was immature, not a team player, and I had to do exactly everything I was told, no questions asked. No exaggeration, those are direct quotes. I made sure my folks were covered and handed in my resignation. After I left, my friends there told me that a bunch of other people walked too. It was a great place to work for my first 2 years, but the manager had never held that position, was stubborn, and hated millennials, and so went out of her way to be horrible to her own staff. I worked in SROs in the middle of the roughest part of my city. I frequently have to identify drug dealers, report them, get them banned, and then enforce the ban. I get threatened by them a lot, usually just with fists or knives. I don't mind that so much. If they come at me with a knife, then the cops actually bust them and then they're out of my hair for good. Well, one guy just kind of laughed at me and said I'd regret it if I kept getting in his way. Which people say, though usually more aggressively, and I don't put much stock into it. Then he gave me his name and just told me to Google him. Turns out he's the son of one of the more violent crime families in the area. They're connected to like 40 targeted killings, and a lot of them are guys like me getting gunned down in parking lots. At that point I back the fuck off. $20 an hour is not enough to fight the mob. Which people say, though usually more aggressively. This is the epitome of that speak softly and carry a big stick thing. Dude didn't need to threaten you, he was just stating some facts. Assuming it was really him and not someone else giving you his name. Spooky anyway. It was definitely him. Police confirmed his identity with me shortly after. I also did some asking around. All the low-level dealers and muscle in the area were scared shitless of him. But yeah, that's my experience too. The people who yell and scream at me and threaten to stab me are doing so because they are terrified of their life and their situation. The ones who are calm and smiling in those places are the ones who are actually scary. In my other job, every guy who ever took a swing at me was smiling before he did it. The time I went to sleep under my desk at work at 5 AM because I needed to be back at my desk for an 8 AM call. I had promised myself a long time ago that I would never sleep under my desk. I would go home, or just work straight through, but I wouldn't do that. I only lived a 12-minute walk home. But that night I realized that getting those extra 24 minutes of sleep were worth not going home. I was so sad about it. I am a corporate lawyer. We had been working, literally, around the clock for days on a deal that was going sideways. This was a Wednesday to a Thursday morning, but I had been there until 3 AM Sunday night, 5 AM Monday night, 6 AM Tuesday night, and had been back in the office by 9 AM every day. That's when I knew I needed to quit, but I'm still here a year and change later. Oops. That schedule sounds crazy. Do you still work those insane hours now? That was among the absolute worst of it. After back-to-back 120-hour weeks, you really start to lose your mind. No idea how anyone expects you to be doing high-level legal work on this little sleep. I was being billed out at close to $1 k hour but was probably drooling on myself for parts of those weeks. I've since moved to a different group within the same firm, and it's saner, or at least there tend to not be as many bad weeks in a row. Posted before. This was back in the late 90s. I was working at Walmart as my first job as a teenager. I was floated to the garden department one day and there was a guy looking at lawn fertilizer. I walked over and asked if he needs help. He said not now, just looking at the different kinds you have. Pretty standard reply from the guy. So I said okay, let me know. I walk away, and then swing back about 5 minutes later. Same guy has proceeded to rip open about 10 different kinds of the fertilizer all over the ground and is rolling around in the stuff. He is also taste sampling the stuff. I called my manager because I did not want to deal with it. Security escorted the guy out the store and called an ambulance in case the ingestion of the fertilizer hurt him. I had an emergency, last minute 20,000 word translation that needed to be done in under 24 hours. The usual output for a translator is 2,000 words per day, including proofreading and editing. I don't know how, but I managed to bash it out. Not my best quality translation ever, but I got it done. Edit, I'd like to point out that I did get many thanks from my actual boss. I also just remembered I did get a thank you email. I was working late, like 2 AM in the office. My manager said let's go to the convenience store to buy some snacks and smokes. She sits in the back and we drive there. After we get out, she says can we swing by this street intersection real quick. When we get to that intersection, I guess she sees a car that belongs to someone she knows, parked in front of her boyfriend's house. She starts to wail, cry and kick around in the backseat, while my bewildered ass just holds the steering wheel, with a stupid look on my face. After 20 minutes of that, we drive back to the office. I drop her off and I go home. WTF. Got change thrown in my face at work because a man was upset we didn't have meatballs. Now if I'm working he'll come in, see me, and walk out. I don't think you understand what a contract means. Besides, this is an opportunity for you. When the new manager tried to move me to night shifts weekend from my day shifts working days despite my contract being very specific about when I worked. Hey, you were right. This is a big opportunity for me was how I opened when I told her I was quitting. The look of shock and 15 minutes of silence on her part were hilarious and the best feeling interval of my entire life when she realized I had thrown her own stupid words back at her. We used to be paid half salary to attend seminars related to our industry that grant professional development hours. These seminars would often be at 7 AM at a hotel that was about a 2-hour drive for me, if I was lucky, in rush hour traffic to get to, but hey it was paid and had free breakfast, so waking up at 4:30 to attend wasn't the worst thing in the world. The company announced that they believed attending the seminars was furthering our knowledge, therefore helping the company, and therefore helping us, so we would no longer be paid to attend them but were still expected to go. I just said that and haven't attended a single one since then and delete all the invite emails. I'm paid hourly, so taking the 6 hours out of my day to drive and attend a seminar I am not being paid for is just plain stupid. I was asked why I haven't gone to any and told them I have mortgage to pay. Haven't been asked to go again since. Edit, holy crap my inbox. Wanted to throw a few comments out cause I've been bombarded. I believe the above situation arose when the company realized the licensed pays were required to attend the seminars for development hours regardless, so they could get away with not paying. The company threw out that BS line to try to guilt us into going, but those of us who are not required to get the hours can't be forced to go. I have already told them, as I mentioned above, that I have a mortgage to pay and am not going to attend anything without pay. I have not been reprimanded for it because, as many of you have been pointed out, that would be illegal and they know it. I am, quite literally, not getting paid enough to deal with that crap. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and to get Squidward rays at the Krusty Krab.